Is artwork disposable? It looks like today that it is, because you see great works of art, but just give it some time, you're going to see another one and then another one because of social media and everything else. Remember these books, like say for instance, The Hobbit, definitely a classic. Also, they're going to make a movie out of this one. This is The Odyssey by Homer. See that? Another classic. And also a book that I like a lot, and it took me forever to get through it because I'm such a slow reader, is Atlas Shrugged. This also they made a movie based on this book, but these ones are classics. And when these authors put together these epic tales, they didn't have the luxury of social media at the time. Oh no, they didn't at all. It was true artwork. It was painful art. They wrote for hours trying to make the best story possible. And their characters it's almost like a sculpture, if you will. All right. They took time to carve out each character to make sure the plot is in sync. They wrote with their heart and their sweat and their blood all the time. Now, when it comes to myself back in the day, when it comes to these books, say for instance, this one, Ayn Rand, right? Atlas Shrugged. I had to go to the bookstore. Remember those places where you picked up a copy of these things? Right? And I had to save up my money to go and to buy these books. Also, back in the 80s, before the modern technology, music artists, when you wanted to buy a CD or a tape of your favorite artist, it wasn't on demand. There was no such thing as on demand services, or you could just play it on Spotify or Apple Music. No, not at all. In fact, one of my favorite stores growing up, they sold music that it was hard to get. And in fact, these groups, they weren't even played on the radio at the time. So I had to go all the way from where I used to live in Scarborough, because I live in Ontario, all the way downtown to my favorite record store where they used to sell vinyl records and tapes. So I had to take one bus, a second bus, and then I had to take a train all the way downtown. And then I had to walk quite the distance to get to my favorite record store. Talking about sacrifice. And then I had to save up my money and buy, I think at that time, the first record that I bought was this one right over here. Yeah, LL Cool J. I think that was my first record. And then I bought this one, Michael Jackson. These are two of my first purchases when I was very young. And when I got home, I cherished the Michael Jackson and the LL Cool J, because it took time, it took effort, it took money to get all of these records in the house. And so I used to play it all the time. With my Michael Jackson, with my LL Cool J, it was on constant rotation. I just used to play it night and day. I used to memorize the lyrics. You probably be in there, right? If you're around my age. And when the song ended, it's not like another song just magically came on. No, not at all. After the LL Cool J album and the Michael, I had to save up some more money to buy, a Whitney Houston album. Or Lionel Richie, or whoever the artists were back then. Music wasn't as accessible. And in fact, for underground hip hop, because that's what I used to play all the time, groups or artists like Rakim, they weren't played on the regular radio. No, they were so underground that you had to take 2 trains and a bus just to buy the album all the way downtown Toronto, if you wanted to get the real, authentic hip-hop music. These days, everything is online. You hit the button and you just play it. I was speaking to my son the other day ago about what I call disposable art, as it seems. So when you're on TikTok, when you're on YouTube, especially YouTube Shorts, you can watch one adorable cat video, and you may like this video. The cat is playing the piano, and you say, wow, that is so cool. The cat is playing the piano. How adorable, how sweet. But then it just automatically jumps to another video of somebody playing the ukulele as he's going across the Niagara Falls on a high wire. And you say, wow, look at that. This person's playing the ukulele as he's on a tightrope. But then you don't have no time to appreciate it because it jumps to another video of somebody skateboarding off of a building. And you think that's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. But then it just skips. And we're constantly being fed information after information, and we can't really hold in our heart what is true, what is excellent, what is noble, and what is beautiful, because it always switches. That is the state of where we're in. Some people like the idea, right? Some people enjoy their on-demand because they could just listen to any music they want to listen to. They could just watch whatever show they want to watch. It doesn't matter what time of the day. For myself, growing up in the 1980s and some of the 90s, when it comes to our favorite TV shows, you had to wait for it. You couldn't just hit one button and play the movie or the TV show whenever you wanted to. No, you couldn't do that. There's some shows like V, if you're that old, remember that show? You had to watch it at a dedicated time. And if you missed V, then you're out of luck. You had to rely on other people at work or at school to let you know what happened on the episode. But now, no such thing. Some people say it's good. Yeah, some of it is, but we don't appreciate it as much anymore. Say, for instance, when Netflix came around, do you know that Netflix, when they started off, they didn't start off with streaming. They used to, you had to rent the actual cassette or right? The actual DVD, you rented it. But now Netflix, they got smart over the years and everything is streaming. But back then, when it comes to videos, I remember with my family, I had to go to Blockbuster or Rogers Video to see the latest movie. I had to get into my car or take the bus and go all the way over to Blockbuster, find the movie, right? And then I used to ask somebody that works there, hey, what movie is the best movie here? And then he or she will give me a recommendation and they'll say, hey, buddy, remember to rewind that tape before you bring it back. And I say, yeah, of course. Like, of course I'm going to rewind the tape. Who doesn't rewind tapes? Right? This was way back when when it was on tape. Can you imagine that? Way back then. So I'll take it back home to my family. We'll watch, we'll enjoy it, and then I have to take the cab, take the bus or whatever, and return it at a set time. That may seem like a lot of work to you. Yeah, it was. But we enjoyed it a lot more. The movies that we watched, it just felt better because we sacrificed for it. We saved up for it, some cash. We took the time to go all the way to Blockbuster or Rogers Video to get it, and also wait in line, which was kind of annoying, just to bring it home and to watch. And we got the popcorn ready, whatever it is, because it was a dedicated time. But now, with Netflix, with all the other streaming services, we don't need to do that anymore. Everything is automated. Everything is also on an algorithm. Now, wait a second. One moment, York. You're forgetting the main thing. You don't know? I'm talking about generative AI. And now when it comes to disposable art, it's all around us. Thanks to ChatGPT just 3 years ago, wow, time travels fast, they created the whole generative AI thing. Now, when it comes to artists, especially writers, a lot of them, they don't even do original works anymore. In fact, I was tempted the other day ago, just to make
generative AI do the entire script that I was writing. But I said, no, don't go out like that. I can't be like that. But some people are. You see the artwork all around us now. It's all over the place. In fact, my wife, she gets all of this incredible artwork and she puts it on her phone. But when I look at it, I'm like, no, this is not real. This is not authentic. What's going on here? So when you're doing your stuff, don't get it twisted. What you're doing when you're taking all of this artwork from ChatGPT, Gemini, and what have you, is called the law of averages. They're not sending you incredible, unique work. They're taking a look at everything that's been done before, and they're sending you the average. That's what it is. It's kind of disposable art. All right? Back to you, York.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, my brother. Isn't that true? I mean, I almost forgot about AI. As he said, when it comes to disposable artwork, well, that is kind of where we're at these days, because we're flooded with what some people may call AI slop. All right, there's a lot of AI out there. Some of it is really good. Some of it you could tell, hey, that's AI. That doesn't look all that great, because it takes away from the human experience. Because now all I have to do is, if I want to have a great work of art, I don't have to slave and put out hundreds of dollars to get an artwork like the singing butler on my wall. No, I could just type in a few things on my computer right over here, a couple of prompts. Let me see if I could do this. Okay, so I'm typing in something right now as we're speaking. And right here. Do you see that? Yeah, I just made it up right now. What do you think? Yeah, it's not like it's Michelangelo Sistine Chapel, but it's doable, it's passable. The thing now with art is that, as my brother said on just a while ago, there is what we call a law of averages. Everything just averages out. They're not taking the best works like the Sistine Chapel, which I'm going to get to. They're just doing what everyone else has done, but they're just going right in between. So the artwork that you get is not the greatest, it's not the worst, it's just there. It's pretty good, it's workable, it's feasible, it's practical. Let's get to the Sistine Chapel. Do you see this? This is by Michelangelo. I'm not talking about the Ninja Turtle. I'm talking about the real artist, Michelangelo. He was incredible, but he wasn't a painter. A lot of people think that he was because of the great works of art. But one day, Julius, that was a pope, Pope Julius II, he wanted Michelangelo or somebody of his merit to paint a work of art on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. And so they wanted Michelangelo to do it. But the thing is, Michelangelo was a sculptor. He wasn't a painter, and he didn't want to do the work. In fact, history says that he was trying to flee. But Pope, and he was a warrior pope at this time, unlike the popes that we have today, this guy was vicious and mean. And so he sent troops, soldiers after Michelangelo to bring him back. So they forced him to create a great work of art. But he pleaded with the Pope and the officials. He says, that's not my thing. That's not my genre. I'm a sculptor. I'm not a painter. I don't have that talent in me. But again, he was forced to paint. So for 4 agonizing years, can you imagine 4 years of agonizing, brutal work, Michelangelo worked on his magnum opus, the Sistine Chapel. Check out this picture right over here. This whole painting was backbreaking. I mean, literally, because what Michelangelo had to do is he had to come up with a certain type of scaffold. Because remember, it was on the ceiling. So he had to come up with a certain type of scaffold so that he could paint almost upside down. And because of this back-breaking work, his back was curved. Yeah, that was the price of him working on this, is that there was a curvature in his back, and also the paint used to fall in his eyes, so it damaged his eyesight. So he had a curved back, and it also damaged his eyes. That's a lot of sacrifice. And he did get paid. The Pope Julius II paid him. I don't think he paid him all that much. And also at the time he was fighting over his money, so for the Pope to give him what he owes. So it was hard work. But the good thing about Michelangelo is that he made an artwork that was unmatched. Even though he was almost enslaved in a way to do the art, but he worked on it. He toiled on it so much that when it was finished, people said they've never seen anything like it. It was a divine work of art, literally, because he talked about Adam, he talked about Noah, he talked about all of these biblical characters. And when you walk in to the Sistine Chapel, which you could do right now, you could go there, the first thing that you'll notice on the fresco, because that's what it was, is Noah. And then as you go through, you see all of these biblical characters, and it goes back in time, like a time machine, and it goes right to Adam. And the most famous one right in the middle is the creation story. As you see right here, right? You see that? Okay, that was one of the, that's the focal piece of the entire artwork. Is God and Adam, and with their fingers almost touching each other. It was a masterpiece. But there was sacrifice with his health. I'm not saying that you have to sacrifice with your health. Health is important, right? Don't mess things up with what I'm saying. You need to take care of yourself mentally, physically, and spiritually. You need to make sure that you're 100%. But I think a lot of times these days, people, they just go online when it comes to art. They type in a little bit of a prompt, and then voila, their piece de resistance is right there for everyone to consume. There is some art. Another podcaster that I listen to all the time, he's great. He was saying that it does take skills and creativity to make AI prompts. It does, but it's not like a Michelangelo or a Da Vinci or a Monet or my girl here, Ayn Rand. I read a couple of her books. These people, they took time. It was effort. It was blood, as I said before, sweat and tears to bring it out. What do you think? Do you think that we are for the better? Now, I don't want a lot of hate comments, right? I'm not saying I don't like AI. I use it all the time when I'm creating my works of art. But I tried my best to limit it, to get the human voice, to get the human experience. We can't just be beholden to all of our technology, right? We cannot be like that. Artwork is for human beings. It's not for the computer first. It's not for AI and robots and everything else. It's for a way for us to record human history, to pass it on to the next generation. That's what artwork is. So that's about it for me. Thank you very much for continuing to watch this channel. And if you could do me a favor, please pass this on to everyone else, because we're trying to do something incredible with this show and also my podcast as well. So after this, listen to Welcome to Earth Stories. It's an audio sci-fi. It's a little bit like Twilight Zone, which is one of my favorite shows, and Black Mirror all rolled into one. All the details is down below, or you could go to the website at welcometoearthstories.com.